I'm going to point out three different continuity issues in three different movies and see if you can understand why the choice may have been made to keep those takes. And there are three different reasons. The first one is actually one of my favorite movies. I consider this a perfect film. So this 0.00001% of the film that is a flaw, I think doesn't make it any less perfect. Often in a good edit, between shots follows an overt action, in and out of the shot. In this case, Jessica Lange's character, Julie, takes a bouquet of flowers that Dustin Hoffman, Dorothy, gave her. And as the location shifts from the foyer of the apartment into the kitchen, Julie places the flowers onto the kitchen table, an overt action. And in the next shot, where it picks up when we're inside the kitchen, is where something happens that's a flaw. So, let's take a look at that.
Nice to meet you.
She scares the shit out of me.
Oh, scared me to death.
Drop your coat here.
Who is it?
Amy's nanny.
Oh.
And she hates me.
Who's Amy?
My daughter.
Oh.
She was 14 months old last week.
So now we have Jessica Lange walking off, and she's going towards the kitchen. We have Dustin Hoffman almost center frame. And we have Mrs. Crowley, the nanny, walking away from Cam. She has been walking slightly right to left, but it's on a diagonal. And the rest of the action is going to be Dustin Hoffman following Jessica Lange. We see Jessica Lange put the flowers down on the kitchen table. We can still see Mrs. Crowley in the background, frame right, leaving. There she goes. And then we pick it up again. Now we're inside the kitchen, and we see just Jessica Lange and Dustin Hoffman in the kitchen, and Jessica Lange puts the flowers down again.
My daughter. Oh. She was 14 months old last week.
I think that this particular piece of dialogue is very important because we meet Jessica Lange, Julie, in her apartment. This is one place that belongs to her, really. And we know that she's not treated well by the director who she's having an affair with. And even this woman, Mrs. Crowley, who works for her, has a certain amount of power over her. She says she scares the shit out of me and that Mrs. Crowley hates her. That's not a nice thing to feel like somebody who you have a lot of contact with hates you. Later on, we find out in the movie that one of the things that helps Jessica Lange's character put her foot down is she fires her. She announces that she's gotten rid of somebody who scares her. That's a powerful thing. So if we don't learn that early in the movie, it's a very tiny thing, but it gives us indications as to who the character is.
Nice to meet you.
She scares the shit out of me.
Oh, scared me to death.
Drop your coat here.
Who is it?
Amy's nanny.
Oh.
And she hates me.
Who's Amy?
My daughter.
Oh.
She was 14 months old last week.
Now, there could be a few reasons why this happened. Maybe there weren't enough takes. Maybe they only shot, one or two and didn't have an option of putting it in. Maybe the director wanted to make sure that we saw Mrs. Crowley, the nanny, completely leave the apartment. And maybe because there might not have been enough takes, or the sound of the dialogue from the foyer into the kitchen needed to sound even. It needed to sound like it was part of the whole conversation. So it just so happened that the timing was off. And I actually think this is probably the reason. And what it's tied to is that performance always wins. If there's a flaw in the shot somewhere, it could be a piece of lighting, it could be a prop that's in the wrong place. right here. But the performance itself is always going to win. The best performance is the one that's going to be chosen. There are times when I've done movies and then I've gone to see it and I'll sit there and go, why did they use that take? I can't believe that because it had such and such a thing in it. But the performance was better. So the performance is going to win. And that's what we're doing. We're doing storytelling. So you've got to keep the performance together. Yeah, storytelling can have flaws. But it's better to not have two apparent flaws than one most people aren't even going to notice. And I'll tell you, I saw this movie Tootsie the first time in the movie theater on a big screen where overt actions sometimes happen. You know, it's a tiny thing, but on a big screen, it's like a foot tall. But I didn't notice it because I was following the screen action and I was following the story. So it's something that I think is forgivable.